Shalom, or for those of you watching live, anticipating shortly when we'll say Shabbat Shalom, and also Chag Sameach, since it is Friday, just about to be when the sun sets, not only Shabbat, but the 15th of Nisan, which brings us Passover, our festival of freedom. So we're having a service that's streamed only, though the synagogue is open. And we're back in person for those of you who maybe forgot or didn't know that. But just for tonight, we're just going to stream, have a short service, hoping that everybody that wants to be at a Seder tonight can be at one, or at least sometime this week can find your way to a Seder. So we can have a short service, especially for people that want to make sure that Friday night doesn't go by without a chance to say Kaddish for their loved ones, and we will do that at the end of this brief service. And so I hope that Shabbat and Passover start off holy and meaningful and sweet for everybody. We're going to do some of the prayers and, of course, end with Kaddish. And so this is just an opening melody that feel free to sing with me from your homes. And it's called a nigun, which is the Hebrew word literally for melody. And it's kind of also come to be a spiritual practice of beginning services without any words, no Hebrew, no English, no any language, just the language of breath and spirit, just by singing Lai to kind of get things moving in the right direction. Yai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai. Ya lai lai, ya lai lai lai, ya lai lai, ya lai lai, ya lai lai lai, ya lai lai, ya lai lai, ya lai lai lai, ya lai lai, ya lai lai lai, ya lai lai, ya lai lai. So even though we're a couple hours before the start of Shabbat on this Friday, I will play a video of Leslie lighting Shabbat candles and singing the blessing. You're more than welcome to light candles early, with the video, or you can wait until later, till Passover Seder, which is combined, of course, with Shabbat rituals this year, or not light them at all. But I thought and also there'll be people who will watch this later on video when it is the start of Shabbat, maybe. So we're going to do the candle lighting. I will add the extra words after the video for the candles that this tonight are not only for Shabbat, but also for Yom Tov, for a holiday, of course, the holiday of Passover. So here's Leslie with the candle lighting.
Asher
Hadlik Ner Shal Shabbat, and tonight V'Yom Tov, the candles that we light, that we will light, for the start of Sabbath and for the start of Passover. Amen. I'm gonna skip some of the Kabbalat Shabbat songs and prayers. We'll be back with those next week and go right to Baruch Hu. You can, I think, access the Siddur. It's been a while since I've done a service from home, but if you go to the website and click on Friday evening service, I'm pretty sure you can get the Siddur in that way, but I'll try to make it as user-friendly as possible for those who can't access the Siddur, but want to sing the Baruch Hu. If you have a Siddur, or if you're looking at an electronic Siddur, we're on pages 10 and 11. This is our call to prayer to officially begin this service. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. And our blessings give us strength and make our visions clear. And our blessings give us peace and the courage to dare as we bless the source of life. So we are blessed. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. Yanalai. Bless the source of life, so we are blessed. Amen. I'm going to do just a little bit of the Ma'ariv Aravim, only because I would skip right to the Shema in this kind of a service, but kind of hard to pass up the Ma'ariv Aravim on Erev Pesach, of the night that Passover starts, because the nighttime is just so much a part of what Passover is all about, right? Seders are held at night. The full moon tells us, that it's time for Passover, the full moon of the spring month of Nisan. The Torah story of slavery and freedom, which is obviously the heart of Passover, starts with a night of watching, for the slaves were waiting for their opportunity to go free with Moses. So nighttime is very much, rolled up with Passover. Nighttime, they say, is a time where we have to rely a little more on faith than in the day. The day we can rely on our senses, but more at night, we can't see, details. That it's about faith, and so that faith that we have on Passover, that there's hope for a better world, for a world free of masters and slaves and oppressor and oppressed. A night that we pray for our liberation and the liberation of all. And so for the night that is to come, I have to talk about Passover in Jerusalem when I was living there for the year with Amy, and the very, very, very late night Passover we had. After our Seder finished at midnight, we walked to the old city, the Jewish quarter, and there were still Seders going on. You could hear them through the open windows on a warm day. 1, 2 in the morning, Just lots of dialogue and lots of questions and lots of singing. So for the nighttime and for this night, which brings us Pesach, page 12. Evening, the evenings, evening the frayed edges of our lives, Ma'ariv, Haravim, Amen, Ma'ariv, Haravim, Amen. Yeah. So now we can skip right to the Shema. Our prayer, our chant, our recitation of oneness, of unity consciousness, the notion that we are all connected. Boy, this holiday season really drives that home with three traditions that have holy days coinciding this weekend, right? Passover and Easter. Passover and Easter are obviously often close in proximity season-wise, but not always on the same weekend like this. And then Ramadan, which is this month. Ramadan is like a floating holiday because while the Muslims use a lunar calendar like the Jews, they don't have a leap year like we have that slides the calendar back so that the holidays are in their right time. Just that's a Jewish thing, and we want Passover to be in the spring for sure. But this year Ramadan coincides with Passover and Easter, and there's probably some other holidays from other traditions, and it's spring for everybody. So there is that unity consciousness, sort of very much illuminative tonight during this season. We are all connected. We are all one. We're different and diverse, and that is good, as it says in the Torah. It is good, but we need to figure out how, through our diversity, we can truly treat each other like we are related and connected on this one planet. So, hello, Michelle. Shabbat Shalom. Thinking about you. Glad I got to see you a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it was even shorter ago. And good to see Rhodey, the two people who have put messages on chat, and everybody. Glad we're together. Whoever you are, wherever you are. Here is Shema Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Adonai Echad. Adonai Echad.
Let's continue on page 16 if you have a Siddur accessible. These are the words that follow the Shema, both in the Torah and now in our prayer books as well. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam B'shivtecha b'veitecha, uv'laktecha v'aderech, uv'shokbecha, uv'kumecha, u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha, ve'hayu letotafot be'neinecha, Uktavtam al mizuzo beitacha uvisharecha liman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hodseti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. Before we jump to Micha Mocha, I like that word jump. Some people say that Pesach, originally comes from a word kind of meaning to leap. We're leaping through this fascinating story of redemption. But I forgot to show the picture I wanted to show for the Ma'ariv Aravim, but I can show it now. There it is, the full moon on the left, the beautiful starry night on the right. We have more of a full moon tonight if the skies cooperate. The moon will look full whether we can see it or not, but of course the full moon is many holidays, Jewish holidays start under the full moon, and obviously including Passover. They say the moon tonight is going to be called a pink moon, so the next couple nights, be on the lookout if there's a clear night. I think tomorrow night's supposed to be more clear than tonight to see the full moon of Passover. All right, Micha Mocha. Yeah, well, again, on the night of the Shabbat service that is also the first night of Passover, you got to have Micha Mocha, because Micha Mocha is the taste of the story that you'll hear at seders, right? That's the freedom story. It's just a little taste of it. It's actually near the end of the story, or at least I would say the story is still ongoing. But the Torah story of freedom, Micha Mocha is kind of like that first gasp, that first breath, that first ecstatic kind of song of freedom. And the idea was why it's in the Shabbat service is so that even when it's not Passover, we remember the message of Passover, Avadim Hayinu, Ata b'nei Chorin, that we were slaves, but now we're free people, and around and around and around again, to remember to be liberated, to liberate others. Of course, on Passover we spend a lot of time doing that, but even on any Shabbat, we have Micha Mocha bringing us to that story where the Erev Rav, the mixed multitude of people from all different nations and races and traditions, came together to become the people of Israel, the people who struggle with God and struggle to be free, and our ancestors who gave us such wonderful traditions like the festival of Passover. And so kind of all started in many ways at the Shirat Hayam, the Song of the Sea, this prayer that is on page actually 18 and 19 is, I froze. I'm sorry, I froze for a second. I think I'm back. Whoa, that was weird. If it was weird for me, it must be weird for anyone who is watching. But anyway, Micha Mocha, the Song at the Sea, and then we always follow it. I think this video has Sia Hamba, another freedom song from South Africa, because while Micha Mocha is a song that inspired or kind of followed the freedom of the Hebrew slaves, we're still needing to fight for freedom. There's still people oppressed, including, the freedom fight, the freedom struggle in South Africa under apartheid. So Sia Hamba brings us to that freedom struggle. And now, we're dealing with other freedom movements. We have to talk about the people in Ukraine who were free and now are having to fight for their freedom. So all these freedom songs, I'm sure they have their own songs, but we think of them all when we invoke Micha Mocha and Sia Hamba on Shabbos services.
Adonai, mi kamocha neder bakodesh, Nora tehilot, osef elei, Nora tehilot, osef elei, shira chadasha, shibakulim, shimchat asafat hayam, shira chadasha, shibakulim, shimchat asafat hayam, yachad kulam, hodu, ve'ilichu, ve'ameru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, 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 Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Sur Israel, kuma ba'ezrat Yisrael, uvdechen mecha Yehuda b'Yisrael. Go aleinu Adonai Sabaoth, Shemo Kadosh Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael. Siyahamba kukenyen cuencos, Siyahamba kukenyen cuencos, Siyahamba kukenyen cuencos, Siyahamba kukenyen cuencos, Siyahamba, 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 Siyahamba kukenyen cuencos, Siyahamba, 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 Siyahamba kukenyen cuencos. We are marching in the light of God. 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 We are marching, we are marching, we are marching. Ooh, we are marching in the light of God. We are marching, we are marching, we are marching. Ooh, we are marching in the light of God. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha neder bakodesh, mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha neder bakodesh.
Page 20. Sing a little Hashkivenu for this Shabbos, for this Pesach. Really a remarkable holiday, the way it's evolved, the way that we take something as ordinary and necessary as a meal. You know, we have to have dinner, we have to have a meal. And then we make it a meal plus at Passover. That's what a seder is, you know? So we have stories and the story, but also songs and rituals and dialogue and questions and food. The food which, you know, we need for nourishment on Passover also becomes the symbols of the story, the way that we embody the story. It's just a really remarkable sort of a spiritual adventure, a spiritual invention. Love Seder. And I hope that all the Seders, wherever they are, however they go, are part of bringing more intentionality and more awareness, more goodness into the world, so that we really can envision a world filled with peace. Take this soul living in my skin and bones, and take this soul and let it sing. Yahweh, Yahweh, always pain before a child is born. Yahweh, Yahweh, it's always dark before the dawn. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom Vehamidenu Shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom Vehamidenu Shomreinu lechaim. After all, it's a redemption holiday. Allow us to lie and rise in peace. Shalom. Allow us to lie and rise in peace. Shalom. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom Vehamidenu Shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom Vehamidenu Shomreinu lechaim. Here comes the redemption part, the hope and the faith. Everything's gotta be alright, yeah. Everything's gonna be alright, and everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright for you and yours. Everything's gonna be alright for all. Everything's gonna be alright, and everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. And Ufros Aleinu Sukkot, Sukkot Shlomecha. Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha, and cover over us tonight with a Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace for you, for those you love, a shelter of peace for all creation, for everyone and everything that dwells on this earth. May this night, this sacred holy night, allow us to feel peace. Shalom. Amen. Amen, amen, amen. All right, just going to do one little piece of the Amidah tonight, which, now that we're back to being in person, even though we're hybrid, we're doing services from CRC, so I don't have access to my kind of razzmatazz home studio. So I have this video that is from the very beginning of the pandemic, when we started kind of making the videos so we could do our services from home. A year and a half we were closed. And one of the videos is KB, our wonderful friend KB, who is now in rabbinical school in Philadelphia. And we miss him, but we're really proud of him, thinking about him. But he recorded a video of the psalm, the piece of the psalm that opens up the Amidah, the Tefillah. And so I'm going to play that for this moment in our service. So here's Koach Baruch, soon to be Rabbi KB.
Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and with thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Oh, we missed. I cut it off before you could hear KV say Shabbat Shalom. But boy, 2 years ago, it's hard to even put your arms around. Anyways, skipping all the other prayers of the Amidah, let's land on page 30. Gotta keep the prayer for peace. Gotta. I thought it said Fargo, Rhodey, but it says forgo. Reading the chat, it's right on the right of my screen. But anyway, let's put in a prayer for peace, of course, in a time where war is so much in the news and kind of sort of searing our hearts. It's awful sort of act of aggression that is just awful. We at least can pray for peace and maybe even try to do more. Shalom Rav, page 30. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasih Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasih Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasih Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasih ata hu melech adon l'chol hashalom ki ata hu melech adon l'chol hashalom shalom raham Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam shalom raham al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam v'tov ve'anecha livrech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. Tasim le'olam, all over the world. Tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam. Amen. Amen. Tell you what, I'm gonna make a few announcements for the people that are watching, for the people who will watch on the video, and then we'll have our Kaddish moment for everybody, so that there is Kaddish on this Friday evening. But long as we're here together, make sure everyone knows that there is a live and in person. I'm live and I'm a person, but there is a in-person Shabbat service tomorrow morning, first day of Passover, Shabbat. Continues, but there will be a service. I think the Rabbis Bogard will be officiating 10 a.m. tomorrow. So you can either come to CRC or you can stream, because it'll be hybrid, like everything except for tonight is pretty much hybrid, including, by the by, the second Seder, which is amazing to me that we're having our second Seder. I think we have like 75 people or so signed up. We haven't had a second Seder in 2 years, since Passover 2019. We had to cancel or not schedule Seders in the building the last 2 years during the pandemic. But we think, we're ready to do this safely. It will be the first time that there's a communal meal at CRC since, before COVID. Pretty amazing. So I think that sign up is closed, but it will be streamed. So if you want to have a Seder, if you maybe won't have a Seder tonight and you want to be part of a Seder and you didn't sign up, you can tune in at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, and we'll all be there in the multi-purpose room, and you can maybe make some food and bring some of the symbolic food, and join us. So that's 6 o'clock tomorrow. There's another Seder. We often have 5 or 6, but this year kind of lightly stepping back into this. We do have another Seder that's not at CRC, but it is in person, and it won't be streamed. It's a protest Seder to protect trans kids. It'll be Wednesday at 5:30, the Wednesday of the 20th, and it's going to be at this Trans Memorial Garden, which is on Wyoming Avenue near California, and there's more information on the website. So that's happening. You should know that Rabbi Susan and Jim are taking a little bit of a break from Havdalah stream. That's stream only, but they're going to do something different for the next 50 days. They're going to be counting the Omer every day, except for Shabbat, except for Saturday, I believe. It says we begin on the second day of Passover, Sunday, April 17th. This is going to be a morning Omer count, ending Friday, June 3rd. Every day except Shabbat, and it's going to be at 9:30 streamed. So those are the main announcements, for Passover. And there's always a lot going on at CRC, and now that we're kind of back in person, there's even more going on in the worlds of adult education and Tikkun Olam, social justice. So check our website and tune in and be part of our sacred community. So, as I said, one of the reasons we decided that we wanted to do this service is in case there were people who just wanted to make sure that we always say Kaddish on Friday night and Saturday morning, and the night of the Seder should be no different. So we came a little earlier with you, but you can always, some of you might be watching and it's 10 o'clock at night. Maybe you're watching after your Seder, but I'm here. It's 5:45, just so you know. And I guess the people that are watching live know. And I want to read out the names that we are, reading every Shabbat. So maybe someone's tuned in that's just waiting to hear the name of their loved one. If you want to type in, I know Rhodey's already said that she's saying Kaddish for Ernie, I guess Couch Charlie Mueller, of blessed memory. And if there's more names, go ahead and type them in. In the meantime, I'm going to say that this Shabbat, this Passover, which is always a tender time, for remembrance, because people think about the holiday time as being together with people they love and they miss. So it's the yahrzeit this time, this weekend, of Ralph Rosen, who's Marion Rosen's father, and Alan Woolman, a cousin of Stephen Arnold. It's also the yahrzeit of Rebecca Edgin and Tom Gilbert and Bonnie Hundman and Sidney Vygotsky, who was Merle Freed's father, Melvin Zuller, Allie and Morgan Zuller's father, Alan Goldman, who was Roger Goldman's brother, Josh's uncle, Ben Keel, a great uncle of Stephanie Kurtzman. Also, kind of early in the week is Philip Gerstenfeld, who was Ellen and Pam's grandfather and Bunny's father-in-law. Remembering Sam Nicholson, Linda's father, and Rabbi Susan's aunt, Molly Talvey. Rose Ray Weber, who was Hank Weber's mom, and Ronald Zimmerman, who was Jim Zimmerman's father. Harry Deitch, who was Philip Deitch's father. And Sylvia Drubo, Daniel Haynes's grandma. David Lee, Julie Stone's grandfather. Eva Sirkin, who was Nancy Weigley's grandma. This week brings Bernie Lipnick's yahrzeit, who is Rabbi Bernard Lipnick from B'nai Amunah, wonderful rabbi in person and civil rights, kind of icon in his own right. Marched with Sister Ebo in Selma. And so we're remembering all of them, and we will have a Yizkor service. I'll tell you more about that before I close the service. But sounds like Stacy, I'm so sorry for the loss of your friend, especially an unexpected loss, very difficult to process. And then, of course, the losses this year, our most recent losses, and the losses this year, people who have died this year who are members of CRC. So most recently, we're remembering the two parents of our member, Howie Ilovicki. Unbelievable. His mom died on April 5th, and then a week later, his dad died on April 11th. Martin Ilovicki and Francis Ilovicki of blessed memory. Remembering Barbara Woodruff, who was Philip Deitch's cousin, and of course Renee Deal, CRC member and wonderful teacher and caterer, friend of so many in our community. So yeah, Stacy, your friend was Nelson D. Ross. So sorry for your loss. We're remembering Al Baker and Florine Faye Zimmerman. For Mimi, that's Rabbi Karen's grandma of blessed memory. For Phyllis Leventhal and Aubrey Yawitz, and Shirley Potisha, member of CRC for a long, long time. Richard Bushman and Dorothy Silverberg, Babette Spiro Young, Eileen Siegel, our member Art Lash, Gloria's late husband, Michelle mentions Jeannie Breeze, the wonderful leader of World Peace Day, who passed away. We had a memorial service for her outside at the Labyrinth of CRC. Selena Green, amazing person, member of CRC, Maria DeShield's daughter. Dr. Paige Powers and Mert Arnowitz-Woolman and Susan Carlson. Karen Flotty, hi Karen. Shabbat Shalom is mentioning Daniel Daly, a good friend of Karen, whose funeral was just yesterday. We remember Daniel with you, Karen. David Spira and Stan Frager, who was Marisburg's brother, and I knew Stan. He lived in Kentucky and was led a Boy Scout troop through his synagogue. Really a really wonderful person. Terrell's mom, Ann Wooten, we're remembering, and Michael Huxley, Lisa's brother. And then, furthermore, more members of CRC. We're remembering Nina Levine and Pat Denlow, who was Bob's wife, and Kyle Currier, Holly's husband, and Noah and Josiah's dad. Samuel Nussbaum, Rhonda's husband, and Judy Hunter, Tim Hunter's mom, and Linda Holtzman. I just heard from Alex, Linda's son, who's going to come to the second Seder with his dad. We're remembering his mom, Linda Holtzman. Remembering Joan Zucker, who was Joe Essman's grandma and Susie, the late Susie Essman's mom. But Joe Essman, who lives in New York now and works for the NBA, met Rabbi Susan and I a couple weeks ago when we had our high school students in New York, and just was such a mensch. So this is Joan, his grandma. And Karen Margot, Mitch's wife, and Judge Roberta Hitt, David Hitt's wife, and our neighbor up the road from CRC. Andy Neiman, a young person and actor, and Lainey's wonderful son. Ed Lander, Vicky's dad of blessed memory. I see that Karen's on, so we have on our list Karen Tucker Wright, who is Reverend Barbie Click's grandson. What a tragic loss. And I'm bringing 7th graders to, Barbie is she heads up the food ministry at Trinity, and every Sunday they make and serve a hot lunch, and CRC participates many times during the year, but always on Easter Sunday, so we can give any of the Christian volunteers their holiday. I'm bringing a group of students to help volunteer at the soup kitchen. I'm sure we'll see Barbie. Raphael Berger, Mike Berger's father, Alex Hochberg, the son of Steve and Gail Hochberg, and then finally and Deborah Hill, Rhodey, and then of course Rhodey requested we say Deborah's name. That yahrzeit is like next weekend, and then we come to the yahrzeit of Dan Sokol, a member of CRC and Rosalind's husband. I did that funeral a year ago. He died on April 21st, so a very tender time during Passover to have a yahrzeit. Brings me to Yizkor. Yizkor this year is on a Saturday morning, a week from tomorrow, the end of Passover. And so we will, there's actually a B'nai Mitzvah that morning, but we will do El Malei Rachamim and, of course, Kaddish. So we'll we'll fold the Yizkor prayers into our Shabbat/B'nai Mitzvah service. So 10 o'clock, a week from Saturday, the 23rd, will be Yizkor. Okay, and also, that's those are the names. Now let's say Kaddish. I'm going to stand up for this one. You're welcome to stand up at home if you'd like. For all the other names, people who are tuning in later, we're remembering all of your loved ones. And come next Saturday, and we'll say every name for sure. So standing up here, and I have the words of Kaddish that we can put on the screen, and may all of their memories be a blessing on this Shabbat, this start of Passover. Yit kadal v'yit kadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chaye echon u'v'yom echon u'v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, b'gala u'v'zman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam ulmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha b'richu le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlam rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen. Yeah, so I'm glad we did that. I'm going to close with, again, kind of weirdly getting nostalgic for our at-home services, which I'm so glad we're back in person, and I'm so glad the synagogue is open. But, it was a moment in time. And so we made a video, April 2020, where Gabe and I, actually, my son and I, did one part of the 3-part priestly blessing. Rabbi Daniel, Rabbi Karen did part 2, and Rabbi Susan did part 3. So I'm going to play that video just because we always close with that blessing, and this is just an interesting way to show it. And then I'll come back really quick and say goodnight and Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach. So here's the video. Here's the priestly blessing, leaving each other with words of love and peace. So we may be physically distancing, but we are socially connected. And so we end our service with words of blessing that can be found on page 100. We say together, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you always. May you have what you need, your material needs, and your physical needs, and your spiritual needs.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
And may you take some of the light that you felt on this Shabbat and some of the beauty from the warmth outside, and may it bring you peace.
Yis Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. And may all that is good and high and holy give us patience, so that we can know shalom, real peace in our hearts, our homes, our communities, and God willing soon. May there be peace and healing and hope and health for all. As we say to each other, Amen and Shabbat Shalom.
There you have it. Oh, well, listen, I hope you have a Seder some point, or even if you have 4 cups of wine and juice and some matzah, just to really internalize that story and to live out the lessons of that story and to be free, to remember what it was like to be a slave and then to be free and be an agent, an angel of freedom. And I hope it's a good Passover, a good and meaningful and healthy and liberating Passover. Thank you, Larry. And Shabbat Shalom. And we'll see you at CRC. Hopefully those of you who are able to come around can come around. And love you all. Still, as always, trying to hold my arms, throw my arms around the whole world. So I'm going to head off to a Seder. And I'll love you all.